Mutiyangi. Hi, hi. Salam alaikum. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله على رسول الله مبعد Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hi everyone. Welcome to this is day six. Is it? Is it day six? Yes. Day six of our 10-day Dhul Hijjah spirituality series. As always, if you are joining us for the first time on YouTube, my name is Mutiat Olagoki. And if you're joining on Facebook, of course you know my name. I am the convener of the Muslim Speaks tribe, which is just a fancy word for I am the supervisor of what they are doing because I cannot even take credit for the fantastic job that my team have been doing the last year. Mashallah, mashallah, may Allah bless and reward all of them. This is the sixth edition of the spirituality series. We started in 2019, and the hopes is to help all of us create hype and vibe and awareness for the importance of these 10 days. They are the best 10 days of the year. We cannot say categorically, I mean, Ramadan is so special, right? But Allah swore by these days and say that they are the best days. And the Rasul Sallallahu says these are the best days that all good deeds can be done. Any good deeds can be done. These are the best days. These are the days that Allah loved the most. So technically, they are better than the days in Ramadan. I mean, the only thing competing with them is maybe the night of power. That's how important. So you would expect that these 10 days will have the same kind of hype that Ramadan has, but they don't. And so we want to hype them because we need you to make good use of them so that they don't just pass by and you've missed great opportunities to seek the mercy of Allah. The thing this year is grace. We're focusing on the grace of Allah because Allah has blessed us with these days. It's like, wait, and I say this a lot. I do not think, I mean, the Rasul Sallallahu says that whatever you do not die unless you're a Muslim. And you're wondering, why is that? What if you're a bad Muslim? Of course, there's nothing like a bad Muslim. If you're truly Muslim in all the most important ways, you're Muslim. And when you see just how many days of the year is filled with Allah's mercy, I mean, there are four sacred months. There's one holy month. There are 30 holy days, 30 Ramadan days, one night of power, and then there's the day of Arafah, and then there are these 10 days. And then there's a particular day of 1 month like this that on the 15th of that day, Allah forgives everybody's sin, whether you ask for it or not. And you're like, is it that Allah just created air fire for itself? Because at this rate, I don't think anybody will enter air fire. And that's the grace of Allah. That's the rahmah, the mercy of Allah. And that is why we are focusing on that, to remind ourselves that we are blessed, we are honored, and definitely we are loved by Allah. And we hope that a remembrance will definitely benefit the believer. And in remembering the grace of Allah, you will connect with Him and strive to make the best of your relationship with Him through good deeds of all kinds. Yeah, that is it for us. Today, we are moving on to the grace of submission. Yesterday, the day before, we talked about the grace of gratitude. Yesterday, we talked about the grace of faith. Today, we are talking about the grace of submission. And I have invited my favorite girls to join me. Kim, one of my besties is here, and my darling Korodo. Um, Hi Shalu, your camera is off. Please turn it on so that I can bring you on. So the other two people are backstage. Okay, Kim is here. And network is shaky because I'm trying to bring her in. Okay. It is Korodo, is she you are hearing us strangely too, ba?
Yes, it's glitching.
It's glitching. Oh wow. You would think that abroad network would be better than Nigerian network. But you see that even in the lands of milk and honey, their network. So all the people that we cursing Nigeria because of network, they have bad network in Ilu too. So Kim will join us when she rectifies it. Sister Aisha, I'm not sure she's ready for this thing. If when she's ready, she will let us know. Hi, hey, Rokia, when I saw your name on the list, I say, hey, Korodo lefe lo jí láàárọ̀ kùtùkùtù. Show madam alone. Show madam alone. How are you, sweetie?
Yeah.
I've got network. I've arranged itself. See my baby, my fine baby. It's been a long time that we had Rashida here on the MST platform. A very long time because she was
Yes.
pretending to not be pregnant. And when she's pregnant, she doesn't like to show her face, even though the face was beautiful all through. We missed you. We missed
I miss
you.
being here too.
Mashallah, mashallah. It's so good to see you. So today we're talking about the grace of submission, and I know that everybody on the that have been invited have experience with submission. But we're going to start with Afa Lekio that is with us today. Rafia Korodo. She's
Okay.
the head of Al Yusra Arabic Academy. Is it Arabic Academy? Or just Academy? And
Academy.
so she's going to start. What is submission? What's even the Arabic word for it and all of that? The definition and the basic things we need to know. Before me and Kim were storytellers. We'll pick it from the storytelling perspective. But you should take it from the serious and sunda Tajweed perspective.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. أعوذ بالله من
Walaikum
الشيطان
salam wa
الرجيم.
rahmatullahi.
Eh, I am just a student of knowledge. Ẹ má dá wọn lóhùn.
One day. That's how they
She's
used to say.
beginning now. She has to be humble. She has to
I
be
am a
humble.
beginner. But yes, from the word Islam itself, it's even the word Islam itself. That's the beginning of submission. So when we say we're Muslims, what does it mean to be a Muslim? When you say you want to follow Allah and the Rasul, and then you say you have accepted Islam. Having to accept Islam in the first place means you're ready to submit your free will to move in line with what Allah has decreed and what the messenger of Allah has also put down for us to follow. So Islam itself, the word Islam means submission. So what does it mean to submit? Like I said, letting go of your free will. In the first instance, I don't even think anybody has anything called free will, because if you want to do it, it means that Allah has given you the liberty. He has given you the grace to actually carry out whatever it is you want to carry out. So we don't have anything to ourselves. Nothing we do is from us. It is just by the will of Allah that, okay, I am letting you do this because I just want it to happen. So submitting to Allah is a no-brainer, even for non-Muslims. When we Allah is Ar-Rahman, He His mercy encompasses us all. It encompasses everything. So whenever we are saying, oh, we want to do this, we want to do that, and then in our head we're like, yes, this is me, this is me. Well, it is heartbreaking when you realize, for some people anyway, that you are not in control of anything in your life. You are just following what Allah has put down for you to follow. So submission in itself, Islam in itself is submission, and then there is nothing that could even explain it more than that.
Mashallah, mashallah. So to align with Islam is submission, right? Islam is to submit to the will of Allah. But Kim, do we really submit? Do we really submit? Somebody told me something yesterday. I wrote it in my journal. What are you reflecting? I still wrote it down. Like I'm still thinking about it. And it says we say we believe in Allah, but do we believe Allah? Do we really submit? Do we really submit? Kim, you are the owner of the question.
Okay. Me to me, per se. submission to Allah is not about giving up control.
Hmm.
It is about gaining a deeper sense of peace and empowerment. When we submit to Allah, we are acknowledging that we are a part of a bigger plan, which it brings a profound sense of purpose and direction to our lives. Like, when you say, okay, to submit to Allah does not mean that you bakamu. Most people mistake it. They say that mo ti bakamu for long. No, you are not bakamu. To bakamu is to say that, okay, you don't have any choice. You have a choice. You have lots of choices, but you choose to believe in Allah. You choose to submit to Allah. You choose to, like, okay, yes, Allah, I give you my all. And like you said, do we really we know Allah, but do we believe in Allah? We don't. We submit, but amafe shagidi. Let me take for instance now. There is someone we fancy, like, okay, maybe a relationship, maybe in marriage. There is someone like, okay, there is this person I want to marry to, and bam, the person breaks our hearts. It is not the sense of that person. It is not the person that we want or we are heartbroken about. It is the companionship, the relationship, the love that we want from that person. So it is when we now say that, okay, I submit to Allah, that is when the replacement from Allah will come, and you'll be like, yes, you by submitting, you accept that, yes, it is the, how do I put it? It is that companionship that we really, really crave for. It is not that person per se. So yes, so when we submit to Allah, it is by accepting His decree, and by the time we submit, we accept. There is inner peace. There is tranquility. I
Mashallah.
hope.
Mashallah.
Yeah.
Yes, fantastic point. Are you here with us now, Sister Aisha? Because I don't know what's going on in the background. Can you hear me?
Yes, mom, I'm here now.
Okay, could you clean your camera? I think it's blur. I think it is. Could you clean it
Okay,
so that
mom,
it's
I will do
clear?
that now. I will.
So submission. My question for her was going to be that, taking it from what Kim said, it's easier said than done, though. And I like how you say, "Oh, it's not letting go of control," because control is so important to us as human beings. Like me, for instance, before life happened to me, I think one of the greatest thing, the lessons of my trial, of the trials have taught me, is me. I don't even think that we have control at all, at all. Even before, we used to think that we have control. Like, I like to control an outcome. I like to be told, if you tell me that, Skim, would you come here? And you say, Muti, I will come to this place if you do this, this, and this. I will use my chest to do this and this and this. If you now come, hey, I will be mad. I will be mad. And that, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. That's the energy I put into everything. If Allah says that He's going to show up for me when I do something, and I want to do something, and I'm like, okay, He'll show up for me, and He doesn't show, don't come and be telling me Allah knows best. Yeah, no, blah, 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 blah. That's not what He told me. That's not that's not our agreement. You said that you will show. Don't come and be saying that you will show in Jannah. No, I don't want it to show in Jannah. I said show it now, now, now. And I think that that's where the difficulty comes from, for a lot of people, right? I mean, that's why a lot of people, because is it that we're translating it literally, or we're not going deeper? And Rafia, is it that we're not going deeper? Or what is it? Because sometimes you'll be like, Allah broke your heart. Oh. Like, wait. You people said that I should be a good girl. I not be a good girl. You're not sharing equal things with me and the child of my mother that is stubborn. Why did that people become a stubborn child? Why? Why?
So, like Kim said earlier, when she said it's not about just giving up control. Honestly, when it comes to control, I think everybody wants to have a little bit of control on some aspect of their lives. But the way Allah has designed us, well, in His will, He couldn't. If He wanted, He probably would should not create us. If He doesn't want to create us, there's nobody would ask Him. But in His grace and might, He created us, and He had told us what He wanted us to do. He has told us what He wanted from us. Yeah, but as humans, we are often in error, and then we're insatiable. We're always gunning for more. So in those instances is where we find ourselves having to, like, okay, compare ourselves to others. And in our minds, since we've said, oh, I've been good, Allah asked me to do this, I've done this, and then I am expecting something in return. I'm expecting something positive in return. But Allah is all knowing. He knows what He wants to give you in return. So whenever what we think is we want to see that return here before we go to Jannah.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
for most time, a lot of people would do a lot of good in this world and they would not reap the benefit here. And the only place they're going to reap the benefit is in Jannah. May Allah unite us all there. Bismillah.
I mean, okay. So the question for you, Aisha, is, why is it difficult for us to submit? Why do you think it's difficult? What makes it difficult to submit? Beside control that we've talked about, because submission is easier said than done, and it's until shege enter people's life that you realize that me submit anything. Mo
You.
kàn ń rò pé mo submit ni. I don't think she can hear me. Can you hear me?
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Can you hear now?
Yes, I think it's better now.
Okay, so we're talking about submission and letting go of control to Allah. Why do you think it's difficult to submit and let go of? Why do you think people find it difficult to submit and let go of control?
Okay, let me rephrase you to be sure I heard what you said. You said why it is important to be submissive, right?
No, why is
Is
it
that
hard?
Why is
Why
okay?
it
is it
Why
hard?
is it hard to be submissive?
to Allah?
أعوذ
Yeah,
بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I don't know if I'm audible enough, but
you're fine.
in human nature, we tend to prefer pleasure over pain, and anything that we define as a pleasure is more soothing to us. It's something the hearts yearn for than other than it. Now, submission is quite hard because you think in our own limited thinking, we think, oh, it is against my will. It is not exactly what I want. I would have preferred it this way. We have a definition of how we want things to be, you know, that in our own favor. And now when if it's drifting, if it's not going in that direction, we feel ah it's a kind of difficult. It's not in our nature. Now it takes that discipline, it takes awareness, it takes that love for Allah to like decide that I will be submissive regardless of my state, regardless of my thoughts, regardless of my whatever expectation I have. Okay, if this is how Allah wants it, then I will give it my all. It's a difficult thing actually. It takes strength. It takes um it takes courage. It's not something that you can just, because okay, it doesn't happen overnight, but it takes courage, but it's also possible. So in human, because of that human nature of ours, it may appear difficult, it may appear hard, but it's possible. And again, it takes the will of Allah, as in you need to ask Allah to help you to be submissive. You can't do that all alone. You need Allah's assistance. That's how I see it.
Mashallah, mashallah, fantastic submission. Thank you. So we're talking about submission and then fantastic submission. Submission, okay. Everything wants to be joining together. So thank you for that. Now, it is difficult. We need to do it. It is almost against our nature. It is almost against our nature to submit because really we are stubborn AH. We're stubborn human beings. I mean, you know, when they say that part of the, I think, one that hadith about how Shaitan is going to say on the day of judgment that he did not tell us to do it, too. That is not our fault. Of course, he's a liar and he will lie. And you would think, Shaitan will also deny us. But then the older you get and the more you reflect and you realize, oh, more, there's some crazy things we do as human beings that we cannot even blame Shaitan for. We ourselves, in our nature, there's a beast who doesn't have, who needs to be tamed. And when you leave it untamed, it just goes like that. And I think that I believe that many of our trials is to help us tame that beast. To help us tame that beast, to tame that. I mean, what did you also say something about the nerves? It is the most, it is, taming it is the best, is the probably the hardest and the most important jihad that any of us will ever go through. So why is it important to submit? Why do Allah put us through these things? Why can't He I mean, why can't He just leave me alone to get the outcomes that I want? So I'm going to start with you, Kim, with that question, and everybody else can pick it up. Why is submission? Why do you think submission is important?
I think it is important, at the beginning, it is normal for humans to resist. Like, let me use myself as an example. While I was in Nigeria and waiting for to join my husband, I am always like, I don't want to work. Like, I just want to be a full housewife. Like baby girl life and everything. I resisted. Like, it would tell me, apply for this, apply for that, blah, blah, blah. I would say, I am not doing, I resisted. I was so adamant, like, no, I want to be like the women of old, like be at home, take care of my kids and everything. But when Allah tied my being here to work, like, okay, you want to be a wife, you want to be a mother to your kids, you want to be a wife to your husband, you have to work. It tied my being here to going out early in the morning, coming back in the afternoon. And I had to accept. So the reason Allah,
Hmm.
can you hear me? Okay. The reason I feel okay, Allah wants us to submit is that He wants us to know that òun ló lágbára.
Hmm.
He
True.
wants us to know that He is the best of planners.
Hmm.
Whatever it is He wants for you, whatever it is He gives you, the moment you accept, like, okay, yes, Allah, I submit to you. I accept your decree. Wallahi, peace and tranquility will be yours.
Hmm.
Because I realized that for me, I think I actually found peace in going out to work.
Did you
Because
even know that in your nature you're an
in my
ambivert?
nature, I want to be at home.
Yeah.
But I realized that going out, I actually needed to be out there, to be able to reach my full potential, to be able to give myself to people. Because I realized that I cannot be around my kids 24/7 and be the Kim people needed and be the tranquil partner people needed. I cannot be home 24/7 to be that. So I needed to be out, to be in my space, to be able to think, to be able to give. So when Allah is giving us that, the resistance and the acceptance for you to know that, yes, just give your all to Allah and you're going to be, you'll be filled, you'll be satisfied once you accept. May Allah make acceptance easy for us. It is not easy.
Hmm. Yeah, that make it easy for us. So
I
that's how
mean,
Kim realized that if she was staying at home, we were depressed. Allah knew, and Allah who knew you better pushed you. What other reason, Corridor? What other reason? Why do you think it's also important for us? Besides that, all this technical thing that she's seeing. I'm here on behalf of those people that don't understand this submission. Like I'm on their side because I know all of you are there for our yeah, dunya, Ajamina sisters. I'm here on behalf of you. Uh, okay, so Cordo, what other reasons do you think is important for us
So
to
for
submit?
submission is important. Like she said, the first thing on my list here also was peace of mind. Because when you've submitted your heart to Allah, then peace would manifest itself not just within you, even with your external conduct with people, how you relate with other people. It will show in how you show up, because you have, it's like when Yoruba say money baba ni bejo. Yes, that's how it is. You are at peace with yourself and at peace with whatever it is that's happening around you, within you, and even in your community. Because since you have that peace of mind, you are able to navigate through whatever it is that's going on around you. Then again, self-acceptance. So for us to say we want to be submissive to Allah, you need to first acknowledge that, yes, I am stubborn. I want to control some things. But the fact that Allah has put me here and He had told me this is what I want you to do, and I've been able to, okay, to an extent, follow those things,
Hmm.
it will lead to self-acceptance. One would accept oneself, flaws and all, and then you'll be able to, like I said, navigate through things. It's just like pre-designed. What's the word now? It is pre-designed. The predisposition of everybody is different. So Allah has said, okay, ìwọ báyìí ló ṣe marry, ìwọ báyìí ló ṣe marry, and you want to now say you want to go against that, it would only bring turmoil in one's life. But if you have gone, like it's like ojú tó ti rókun tó ti rọ́sà, now come back, say, okay, now, oh Lord, here I am. I am willing and I am back to you and I want to submit to you. That's how it is. I remember one time like that, I had some challenges back then. And in my mind, I'm like, nope, this cannot be happening to me. It cannot. Right now, I'm not. But such events kept occurring and
Mm.
it was insistent. I'm like, why? I didn't do anything to warrant all of this. But in the long run, I figured that it's not because I was better than anybody else. It happened because Allah wanted it to happen to me. And it happened. I took my lessons from it. Like Auntie Moti said, Auntie Moti will say, see, whatever happens to you, take the lesson and move on. That's it. I took the lessons from it. I moved on, but not knowing that I didn't really go through the pain or the grief of whatever it is that was happening then. And then I found myself doing things that were out of character for me. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I need help. Then I sought help. It was after I
Mashallah.
sought help, I was able to say, okay, now I'm beginning to gain my confidence back, which is
Mashallah.
where I say, okay, I have accepted myself first, and I've accepted to the will of Allah that this is how Allah has wanted my life to be, and that is exactly how it is going. Which now I am grateful for. Wallahi.
Alhamdulillah.
Because that's one thing I have another thing I've learned in this life is whenever a trial comes and it happens so fast that I was lost for a long time. I'm like, subhanallah, how am I going to navigate through this? And I did not know some of those things affected me deeply
No.
until it was showing, and I'm like, this is not me. And I sought help, and then I just accepted the fact that okay, Allah just wanted it to happen that way. And now I am much better from how I used to be a year or 2 years back. Now I'm gaining my
Alhamdulillah.
confidence. I'm talking. I've been off talking geek for years. So when Allah has ordained it, it's going to happen. Self-acceptance
Mashallah.
is also one of those things.
Mashallah. It's like I will release Aisha to go and focus on submission to the will of Allah because what's going on? What's going on? Corrado, thank you so much for that. So I want you to pick the question before we start telling stories, because I know that all of us have stories of when Allah we came to the realization that Allah will Kotegba. But before then, why is it important? Why do you think, Aisha, why do you think it's important that we submit? Regardless of whatever reason Allah has, why do you think submission is so important?
Well, I'll give a simple analogy like the person who has made our phones, the phones we are using now, that person or the company or whatever we tag to it gave us a manual. And that manual tells us how to make use of that phone. Now, this is Allah, our creator. He created us, and then He tells us this and that is what we need to do to live and enjoy our life as expected. So, if not for any other reason, this particular reason makes it important because an individual will just remain confused. You go here, you go there, as in you are clueless of what you need to do. You're clueless. But with the manual, you go back to it, you read it, then you understand that, oh, this is the way forth. So it is important to submit to Allah. It is very important because that is the basics. That is the basis of your iman. May Allah make it easy.
Thank
Hello,
you
mom.
very much. Thank you very much. The analogy is very clear. I mean, what we say when we define Islam, like Rofia said earlier, it is the submission to the will of Allah. That's like it's like the entire template. Like if you summarize what Islam is in one sentence, submission to the will of Allah. And for some reasons, when you dive deep, we now forget that that's why we are. Thank you for that. So, for me, why is submission important? I think that I would say that one of the things that I've learned that submission is important is that that happiness, that pursuit of happiness that all of us are looking for. The only way to get it is through submission. Like that's the cheat code. If you are listening, you are in a pursuit of any form of I don't know what your happiness is. I mean, we're using happiness as a lot of people have different things they're looking for. By the end of the day, is that happiness? For some people, it's sakina, for some people, it's healing. That's is through the submission. And as a CBT and a self-concept coach, I will tell you that look at all the techniques, all the techniques of healing there is until you get to that point of acceptance, of submitting to a higher power. And that's what all of them have in common. All of the fancy, we can't say fancy, the trending healing and self-concept ideas coming out now, everything is beginning to come back again to the fact that when you submit to the higher power, now we know that the higher power is one and only Allah. That's when you begin to even reach your own higher
Mhm.
self. That higher self that everybody's looking for. I want to be the best of myself. I want to be the most. I want to maximize my humanness. They say neuroscience would say scientists say that we're only applying 5% of the capability of our brains, and everybody's struggling to push beyond that. And I don't think that we have the capacity to push beyond that. But even if the only way to achieve whatever you are looking for, I mean, I think the height of it for most humans is to reach their own higher self. It is through the submission. And as Muslims, they are still looking for what the higher power is. As Muslims, we've known the answer from the day that we said the Shahada, and it is submission to the will of Allah. And it is easier to say these things the way I've said it. It's sounding poetic to you. But I know that everyone on the screen has an experience of when they came to that realization, right? I personally, I'm grateful for my life's trial. I mean, people can look at you and be like, oh, may Allah answer your prayer. He has answered my prayer. That the trial is a prayer I never prayed for, but in his infinite mercy, answered it. You know, when you get to a place, I'll be like, "Ọpẹ́lọpẹ́ kíní yẹn o." I don't even know that I would need kíní yẹn until I got. And I think that for every experience, for every time I move forward and I look back and I'm like, wow, if that hadn't happened, that thing that almost broke my spirit, if it not happened, I will not be here. I say this every time on the MST, that without the choking, almost exhausting trials of my life, like that almost choked me like kilo deki mo ṣe fún wọn long. Ṣé mo gbọmọ lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ ni àbí mo jí gold chair? Did I steal your conceal? I did not steal it. I don't even know where it is. Why is this punishment? Like that trial is the reason that I'm wearing the full hijab, is the reason that the MST exists, is the reason that if you meet me and you're like, oh my God, Sister Mtiat, you said something that touched me. I did not say anything that touched you. It is my trial that I say it. It is the experience and the wisdom that came from it. And for every time I have that experience, I just say, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. So many, I mean, right there yesterday on the live show, one of my staff who was with us on the screen said that she has been looking for a job. I didn't even know. I was a coach for throughout last year. I didn't know that she was looking for a job along with the business that I was coaching her on. And came to say that me giving her a job was a prayer dancer. I did not know. She told me something and I sat with it, and a thought formed in my head and I sat with it. And I always say that when good thoughts form in your head for ideas, pushing in a good direction, is the you mean it is the inspiration from Allah. And one of the things I have learned with this inspiration is to go for it, submit to it. And I remember just praying about it, and I'm like, will this make sense? And I went for it. And yesterday, after 6 months, I found out that it was Allah answering our prayer. That offer was a prayer answer. It was an offer that came out of nowhere from me. And I thought about it and I went with it without any fear. There were things to be afraid of. I couldn't, funniest part, even the salary I offered her, I couldn't afford the salary. At that time, the salary was a lot for me. It was times two of what I paid the last time, the last person who took a job. But I was like, oh no, I can't pay her anything less. In fact, I remember that I was going to pay her 10,000 less. When she got here and saw that she's coming from a far place, I was like, oh, moto, let's do this. The last person worked full time at half the salary. She's working twice a week. She comes to work twice a week and do remote. Everything about it did not go with what I wanted. But I was making it work. Okay, this place is always somebody has to be on Tuesday. I need everybody on Friday. Okay, let her come Tuesday and Friday. I was adjusting, trying to make it work on her behalf as my own detriment in a way. But I was like, it will work. Oh my work, all of my shit. And I said, you know what, I'll do it with Allah and let Allah bless it. And it has been a fantastic arrangement for me, my business, and her. And that's just one of the many experiences that I realized that, you know what, uh, Kim, in what
Yeah.
ways, an example, can you tell us that moment you realize that, you know what, surrender, submit,
Hmm.
share with us
I
your.
think for me, it happened during my book launch.
Mm,
I am
mm,
someone that gets, I'll say it's a blessing. It's not as if things come easily to me, but I've been blessed. I get things done easily. Like I have people surrounding me. Like I need something, phew, I get it. But Allah wanted me to, Allah wanted me to know that a minimum, He is the one that has that. I wants me to be appreciative of Him alone. So when I wanted to launch my book now, the story behind it. It came easily, like everything was going smoothly, blah, blah, and out of the blues, just few days to launch, I'll be few weeks to launch. Someone came up that, yes, you are writing my book. And I was like, how? How? And everything about that book went from, it took a 360 round. Had to rewrite, had to reprint, dispose all the copies printed and everything. And I used to think that people loved me, like I know me, and to hate me, and to cater me about so like everybody loves Kim now. Who is not going to like him?
As in,
But
everybody loves
Allah,
chemo.
yes,
Chemo would
now
not like
even Jollof Rice, not everybody does not love Jollof Rice. How can everybody like him? But
ah.
Allah made me realize that no, there are some accolades you are giving to some people that are meant for me alone. And Sister Sticker used to tells me one thing, that I am the kind of person I am. If you do something for me, I'll appreciate you. I'll keep appreciating you, and I'll keep mentioning you. So Allah wanted me to tell him that no, you see this book you are going to write. The glory, everything about this book is going to be attributed to me alone, and not any other person.
Yeah, mashallah.
And that was when I accepted. I came to the realization that okay, yes, everybody cannot like you, and you have to accept that fact that I alone, the praises and everything belongs to me alone. That was when
Mm,
I came to the realization.
mm, mm. Deep, 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 deep. Aisha, when did you come into the realization? This Kim story, if we start to enlarge it, some tables, some structure would fall. Some structure would fall. And I know that people are joining us from YouTube. We're not going to touch on that, but that experience was very shocking. It was a very shocking experience, and it was very heartbreaking, very shocking, very spirit breaking. But Alhamdulillah that we are people of submission. Alhamdulillah
Alhamdulillah.
for always having an inner circle that is good. I mean, kule kuma kunya kunya kon.
Then,
And to all
then.
those people who showed up for you, was it last year? It's more than a year already.
3 years or 3 years. What's in 3 years? Bye.
Barakallah.
Alhamdulillah.
May Allah bless every one of them. But that moment where you feel like, I think it wasn't just a test of giving praises to people. It was also a test of submission to Allah. Like, oh, you want to lean on all of them. Oh yeah. And then he removed the shock. Oh
He
yeah, oh
removed
yeah,
it.
lean. It was a
He
test of
removed
tawakal. It was a
it.
test of, yes. They say, Yoruba people will say that Allah is a very jealous God. He's very jealous. Once he sees that, who is this mofo that this one is okay, I want work neighbor. And because sincerity, I say this to people in my inner circle a lot. If you are not sincere to me, actually matu.
Then.
Actually matu. Because I know, alhamdulillah, there are a lot of favors that Allah give me, but one of the ones that I'm most proud of is that I'm a sincere person. May Allah not take my sincerity. I am a sincere person. I'm a sincere person. And so if you're not sincere with me, you're achieving with you. And I think that's what happened with Kim at the time. Not actually be going about it. I mean, it's arrogant to think everybody loves you. Everybody doesn't even love Allah. Everybody don't love Allah. Don't love everybody. Not everybody loves Allah. Not everybody. I mean, there are people who blaspheme Allah all the time. So who are you? But it is a very heartbreaking situation. But we took submission from it. Aisha, when was it that you got to realize that just lean on Allah always and always? Is it a network?
Okay, so I think I have one particular experience I will put forth, and that is when I was seeking for admission, and I finished secondary school like every normal person, and I thought it would be a sweet thing. Just write exam was there, and you will get an admission and you will go. But then it wasn't funny. I wrote the jam more than 5 times, and yet it wasn't as if I wasn't doing well. The admission was not just coming. And then my dad insisted that I must go to ABU. And she wants to go to ABU. She's from Kogi State and she wants to study a medical course. Admission is not coming. At a point I felt maybe I'm not meant to go to school. Because even my immediate younger brother letter got and I was still at home. Now At the fifth year, I was like, so let me just let it go. But at the same time, I was struggling to keep myself together, to be normal, as in not to go insane. I was trying to think straight. I started acting weird, even to my parents, even to my neighbors, you know. Then I realized that okay, I don't know anything as regards the game. I am just a normal butterfly, a normal young lady juggling all over the places. And so maybe it's an opportunity for me to go learn the deed while I wait. So I enrolled in an Islamia. When I did, one of the challenge I got was the dressing. I needed to like start wearing hijab, start covering. And this is me. I only use scarf. The scarf dancer. You pity the nature if you see it. But just be a part of the hair. And I can fling it anywhere, anytime. I don't care. I'm just that's the example I gave, like a butterfly. I can juggle all over the places like I want. And now I went to Islamia, they start talking about hijab, why I need to do this, why I say, it's not possible. It's not in my agenda. Why will I follow? Why should I wear hijab? No, it's not in my agenda at all. I cannot. Well, the learning continues. They were talking one after the other, one after the other. At the end of the day, I asked myself, from the books I've been given, from the class I've been attending, I asked myself, what do I really want? Not, I am not progressing. My
Aisha,
skills
I
are
mean,
not.
what's the baby's name? Baby, let's us hear this nice story mommy is telling us now. Baby, let us hear this story. And more enjoy story, you. This cry baby. I really enjoying the story. Okay. Let her settle down, baby. And you need to finish the story. You and your baby need to find a solution to this problem. Okay, so Corona, while we're waiting for her to settle down and settle the baby, could you tell us when you realized that there's no way forward, submission go.
Mhm. Um, I have a couple of experiences, but a story reminded me of mine when I started wearing the hijab. It was like school time too, when I was searching for admission, but I got the admission quite alright. But my mom had an accident and she had a fractured leg, so it was hard. I was home for about a year with her then, and it was hard. All of my friends were already admitted in school. I had the admission quite all right, but I couldn't go because medical expenses go a lot. I mean, acceptance fees on time, so I couldn't join my mates when they were going to school. And before then, it was just like what her. I was only a scarf or a cap person. But then I don't know, maybe it was a dream or maybe it was just Allah opening my my mind and my eyes to the fact that I need to do better. Yes, I pray. I'm Alhamdulillah, I was born into an Islamic family. Yes, my daddy prays. He would force us to go to the masjid to pray. But I just pray because I don't want my daddy to beat me. Because if you don't pray, why jegba? So I will pray because I don't want my dad to beat me. I wasn't praying because I understood why I needed to pray then. But then I think I listened to a lecture or I went for a lecture and then I don't know, something just came over me and I wanted to learn more. I wanted to know more. I just started reaching for things that I could find to read more about Islam. And then my mom was bedridden. I was with her. I had to work because, and I just finished secondary school. I had to work. Daddy's income wasn't sufficient to pull us through everything. And it was right in the middle of all of that that Allah chose to guide me. And at that point, I was still like, "Ah, I don't think me I can wear a hijab like that too." Because my mom, she used to be a Christian. She even tell you, Nibo, and you know all those are romance. She's not a religious person. Be like, what am I low? I want short, you know all those fashion hijabs. I want Yenikuma low, those ones. I'll just laugh. But alhamdulillah, I realized that when I started learning about the deen and I started adorning the hijab, I'll go to lectures. When I come back, I'll pray with my mom. You know, I things started looking up. At some point, our leg was not healing. And we were all scared, like, hey, hope this thing will not turn to amputation like this. But it was everything started turning around when I felt like, okay, all is gone. Me o shemo. I don't think I can continue. But Allah kept showing up for me. And in that time of my life, I was like, no. And tó bá sọ pé Ọlọ́run ò sí, the person is dead. Because why would they
Mashallah.
have chosen that time to just, reminded me, I am here. Oh, if you need me, just call up. I was lost. I didn't even know what to do. But it was that time I started wearing hijab. It was that time I started saying I want to go to madrasa. It was that time I told my mom that the Jojo Kima was jabu. And my mom, she's all this Zafefe Yeye person. But then she was even bedridden. So there was nothing she could do about it. But she could see that in all of those things, I was positive. I wasn't negative. I would come, I would console her. I was beside her. I was doing all I could to make things work, even though my own innate what's it called was for me to be in school at that time because all my mates were already in school.
Actually, even more.
Everybody was in school. So I was like, well, me ò ṣáà sì lè lọ sí school, but then let me be here. And then it was a breeze. I realized that Allah alone is the one that would always come through for you whenever you need it. And from then on, has to be Allah. That's my anthem. I
Mashallah.
back with him.
Mashallah. Mashallah. Aisha, are you back? Go
Yes,
on.
ma'am. Okay. Um, it was as a result of this challenge that at the point I needed to like tell myself, okay, nothing is working for you. At least pay attention and listen. Do something. Keep your stubborn head aside and just do something. Well, I picked my books. I was reading one stuff. Just okay, fine. I went to get one tiny hijab like that. It's like a half of it, just very small. Oh, it's not bad. It's not as I thought it was. The next Ramadan again, I made it a little longer, a yard longer, like that, like that, like that. And as Allah will have it, before the admission came, I was full in a lengthy hijab and a niqab already, all by
Mashallah.
myself. So to
Ah,
me, I see that journeying as a way of like, okay, you're not going to that level until you attain certain level with me. You understand? Until you attain certain level of submission with me, you would not achieve this. That was how I saw it. And I used that a couple of times as an inspiration to other sisters that I get to meet. That whatever it is that is going on in your life, you may not really understand the wisdom around it, but your willingness to just be submissive, just try and listen, just try and understand the advice that comes from, go back to Allah, hold on to Allah, call Allah, keep whatever you think it is, how it's supposed to be aside, keep your thoughts, your mind aside, just follow Allah and you will see the end. So that particularly stood out for me. And as I asked I took it was like a resolute for me. I told myself, okay, as I'm stepping out, despite the fact that I'm going to be alone, because it is my first time ever traveling out of my parents' order. So I told myself I will not lift it up for any reason except when it's like a commitment to myself. So I'll ask Allah for it. And that was how it is. I went with that and graduated with that. I only added the gloves when I afterwards. So Alhamdulillah, may Allah make
Alhamdulillah.
his
Alhamdulillah.
submission easy for us.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, so our time is running up, and we still need to talk about tips that you have for the audience. But I will quickly say my own. So, for me, submitting to Allah was not one event. It was series of a whole decade of not getting what I'm wishing for. Waking up one day and be like, "Hilili, no shele." Being on the brink of depression for the third time in 5 years. Was it 5 years? I mean, 3 years. For the second time in 3 years, and realizing that what do I do with my life? And then I submitted their gratitude. So, but one instance that helped me, that made my go to kini la hawla wala quwwata illa billah is I remember a day before I had a presentation. I do, if you know me, I do public speaking back to back practically every day of the week. And I think we were talking about something, and somebody was saying something about my voice, and I said, Omo, this voice, my voice is even shame you. I don't know what I'll do without my voice. They're like, I think someone was asking me how did I get my voice to be like this? So your voice is nice. What do you do? And I'm like, Wabai, we were born with it. You know how you are you are doing younger, like I was born with this voice, so I
You're
just
so
open my
proud.
mouth. I was like I just open my mouth and awesomeness comes out. Moya is evil or not. I had a presentation that day. The next day, was it a class or a presentation? Something, I mean, a class and I was like, this voice, Tegoni here. If I don't have anything, this my voice, I have it. I do tough with it. I can it. Oh man, that's how I woke up the next day at Subri. Ladies and gentlemen, my voice was gone. My voice was gone. And I was like, is it like I had I think I ate something late at night. I don't know, that stuck here and became a viral sore throat overnight. And I'm like, what? Where is the voice? And then you realize that it's not your voice. It is not your voice. It belongs to Allah. And I'm like, and for one whole week. And everything that I thought I had planned, everything that I thought I would do this, do this, do this, do this, everything. Nothing. I couldn't do anything for 1 week. For one whole week, I couldn't do anything. And that week, sometimes people, when I see people when they are hurt and they're like, you spoiled all my plan. No, for some reason, I remember sitting on my bed thinking, Allah Akbar. This is Allah. This is Allah. This is by Allah. This is from Allah. Like for some reason, and it was clear to me that it was Allah. Allah just wanted to show me, because I did not think, hey, everybody kept saying Kilo Shell. I'm like, okay, we are no me or Timomi. But when I was sitting by myself, I was telling myself that well, I say where I got what was on me now. The owner of the thing, like so that was the day that I'm like, all my plans that week scattered. When I
Allah
look back
Akbar.
now, I realized that the scattering of the plans were not actually significant to anything. I found out that all the things that I thought, if I don't do it, Maku, if I don't do it, Kodishe, none of it. I mean, I'm trying to look back. There was no um consequential outcome from the fact that I lost my voice for 1 week and I couldn't do the thing. There was nothing. In fact, interestingly, everybody that I called to say, they might have got, they were very empathetic. They were very understanding. Oh, even places that I went with the voice. I remember going to a class later that week and the children were like, Miss Mutia, sorry. So it was, and I thought that without that voice, I would have a terrible week.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. And it
Yeah.
was just like la hawla wala quwwata illa billah. And I think that was the day that I started to pay attention to the fact that we do not have any control. Our control is fragile. Is much more fragile than we think. That was the day it was like even this voice. Like if you think Mutiat, you think talk. Ah, Mutiat at the door. I could not talk for a week. That would what makes me me. I couldn't do it for a week. So what's me? Me is nothing. And that was the day I started to surrender to Allah. And I think the day that I gave up, bata, that's my Tawakkul story. I planned a class, did poster, and fine, cool. I was sure that oh, I joined my money, 30 can register. I mean, it was 20 kids. Like these people that have done their job, they will give me my money. Ladies, none of them gave me my money. Class of 20 children was only two child, two children that registered. Mo fẹ́ kú. The one I thought it was a joke. They two are like kilo shele. All the people that promised me their children are coming. By day three, it was a 5 day class. I was setting to tears. I started to cry like nothing. People who hold me money, they were supposed to pay for me, were telling me that "Mutisha, 1 naira right because you know account me go they think another legend." Like it was not like all my customers were broke. I cried.
Mm.
I jaw was sticking. Ah, but you know what happened? One day, after crying and crying and say, be somebody is, be evil, I ain't shame me, the close shele. It was terrible. I didn't have staff. I was going through a rough patch. I didn't have staff. You would think that that would have been I've tried for you, not be patient. Why you? It's like Allah was just, things were just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And one day like this, I just sat down, open Quran. And you know the Quran. The miracle of the Quran is that whatever page you open, you will find solace. And then I opened the Quran and I'm sitting and I'm like, Kimoveshi. And my mind is like, let me go to Surah to Dua. Is it time for Dua yet? I will pray Dua. I will read several Surah to Dua. I will read several and read it and read it. I will beg Allah. Hey, Shebi, you said you give me, I will be pleased. And that's what I did. And I did that. And immediately I stopped, put the Quran down. Something just told me, pick your phone. I picked my phone. The first group I went to, they were talking about money. And the guy is saying, somebody drop your account now. If Saraki should lose, I will give you $1,000. At that time, dollar was 350 or thereabout. Me, I'm not even looking for $1,000. 100,000. I just, as I opened it, the people were like, you are making eh? The assistant in my head said, oh, they drop account here. Me, I just dropped my own account. I first think it, is it Tete? No, I have nothing to lose. I dropped my account. And people started to make jest of me like, Muti, you like money. Can you drop it? Because I can't even lose. Me, I don't know. I don't know. The spirit here told me to drop my account. Oh, that's how I lose. Oh. That's how I lose. So that's how I lose. Saki lost, which was a miracle on its own. But I mean, I think it was a day or two before Saki lost. And then this guy, and people were like, oh, everybody was shocked. They didn't think it was possible. The guy who was saying the thing was sure of it. He seemed to be the only one that was sure. And then me, I just said, don't worry, offer people were arranging it, oh my Shelly. I just dropped my account. That's how. And then once the guy said he has dropped the money, he dropped 300K for me.
Wow.
And everybody in the group started saying, we will share it, we will share it. Like, he had started, did you believe in it? Are you from offer? Don't join. and somebody called, and the guy, so I called the guy and said, guy, this money, how should we share it? And this guy said, Uti, you can do whatever you want to do with it. You can share it however you want to share it. However, whatever you do, you must take 100,000 naira from that money.
Allah Akbar.
100,000 is what I begged Allah for. 100,000 is what I begged Allah for. And immediately he said it, I did my shujud shukr because Why did Allah have to tell him to tell me 100,000? We could have shared the money. Six of us were sharing the money, 50K. Oh, me, take me, but at least we have. Allah wanted me to know. The guy could say, Babugo 300K. No, but it wouldn't have been clear to me that Allah heard that prayer. The guy said 100K. And did he not say, I will root for you, I will provide for you from places you least expect? After that Salatu Dua, I surrendered and said, talk, you will give me and you shall be well pleased. And minutes into it, he gave me a route. I did not see it coming. It did not seem possible. But I put my account and I left it to Allah. Yóò ṣeé ṣe, owó pé, Ọlọ́run jẹ́ ó jẹ́. All the people that promised it will happen. And 2 days before the deadline, this guy said, share the money however you like, but you must take 100,000 naira from it. And I'm like, Allah Akbar. Of course, I took more than 100,000 because after taking my own 100,000, I shared the money with the many people. And one of them was owing me money that he has not paid since 2 years before. I collected my money. When the mofo say, oh, me, I will go where about, oh, no. I have removed it. If I call the guy to say, like, the guy is owing me this amount. Oh. I want to collect his 35,000. I said, I need to talk about where Koshe. I collected the 35,000. And the guy was owing me 70 something thousand. I dash him the rest. It's one of so our time, and that was it. And I think from that day onward, surrender you, surrender, submission. I mean, it is hard to get there, but Allah will. I mean, I think my favorite thing about Allah is that it will continue to put us through trials that will get us there. If He loves you, He will ensure that you get that because He knows that the peace you're looking for, the happiness you're looking for, the everything you're looking for is in submitting to Him. So Allah will continue to try us until you collect for Him. You back, you take it from Him. And I pray that He do not test us beyond our disposition, do not test us. Jazakumullah khairan to my audience, for my guests. We've definitely used more than our time, but I want you to tell me what are the practice? Just one. Don't make it long. One practice that you practice every day that helps you, hold on to your submission to Allah. So Rafia, I will start with you.
Okay, for me that will be gratitude actually. Yes, that's the only thing, gratitude, because whether in good or bad times, we should always be grateful to Allah. A lot of events has happened recently, actually very recent, that I felt that if I was not grateful to Allah, I would have done something else. Because at some point I felt like, this is the end. Right? But I was shocked because even at that period, I felt I was still thanking Allah that it could have been worse. That's what I say. So whenever I thank Allah, I was just think, well, in so if this did not happen, something worse could have happened. So, but yes, gratitude is one thing I've held on to for a very long time, because with every trial, I've come to realize that there's always going to be ease. With every trial, there is always ease. And with everyone I have been through in these short years of my life, it has been consistent. With everything, if I go through something bad, there is always a silver lining at the end of the tunnel. And gratitude is one thing that I've never let go of, and which is what I would also tell our audience to please invite. Anyhow, anyway, journaling, professing it, saying it every day, saying it in your dua every time. Just be thankful to Allah. Because he also said that whenever we're thankful to him, he's going to give us more. So whenever we're thankful to Allah, we are remembering Allah, and then we're also indirectly surrendering to him that whatever it is he has done, we're grateful for it, be it good, be it bad, and we are hopeful for more blessings and more things to come from him. So yes, gratitude is one thing that I've learned.
Gratitude. Kim, what's yours?
I'll say gratitude too. However, mine is I reflect in the littlest things that people don't even take cognizance of. And my pattern, let me add it to my pattern words. Stop fighting. I tell people, stop fighting. Sometimes people will come to me and my husband, stop fighting. Ask, okay, your husband said you should do this. Why can't you just accept it? That's a lot using your husband to tell you to do certain things, and just accept it. At least Allah has placed your husband above you. and I deal with married people a lot. So Allah has placed your husband above you. That thing that he said, okay, he does not want you to do, accept. Don't fight it. And by Allah, just go to Allah, talk to Allah, speak with Allah. Yeah, Allah, I want this thing. Soften the heart of my husband, soften the heart of whoever is in charge of that thing that you want. And by Allah, in fact, you don't need to ask later. He is going to be the one to say, okay, there's something you said you needed. This is the time I want to give you. Stop arguing. Stop fighting your husband for whatever thing you think, or the agbára nle. Just
Yeah.
submit.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
Thank you
You'll be
for
fine.
noting that, because part of submission is actually submission to in the places to other people, in places where it is needed. Submitting to Allah, I mean, Allah commands you. The Rasul some commands us to submit to our husbands. So in obeying that commandment, because Allah say, "Ati'u Allah wa ati'u Rasul." In obeying the Rasul, you sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you are also submitting to Allah, which is one conversation that Kim we have to come back and talk about. We definitely need to talk about submission to husband as a whole branch of this conversation, because people don't get it. Egbagba, afalagbara, in whatever situation. Even that's the position of stand in leadership too. If I'm supposed to lead all four of us, the position of the Sharia is that all of you must listen to me. You
Yes.
must obey me. Yes, you should call me to correction if there's a need for it. But you cannot be forming once you decide that I'm the leader, then let me lead. And we don't do that in marriages. We don't do that in at work. Some of you, even your boss that is paying you money, you refuse to submit to the you don't even submit to the values of the company. You just be doing your own anyhow. So the conversation on submission is broader, but we've looked at it from the perspective of spirituality in relation to our relationship with Allah. Mashallah. Aisha, what tip do you have, and your last word to go along with it?
Okay, it's a mantra. Actually, I tell myself, Allah is with me, Allah sees me, and Allah is my witness. So try to be submissive. So I keep telling myself that anytime I have an opportunity to discuss with the kids, I tell them that too. Allah is with you, Allah sees you,
Hmm.
Allah is your witness. So try. You just have to try. No matter how difficult it is, try to be submissive.
Fine.
May Allah make it easy for all of us.
I mean. For me, yes, gratitude. I think that reflecting on the 99 names of Allah is also key. I think that also DQ helps me to submit. I mean, all this DQ that you say, go and read the translation. If you don't know the meanings, go and read the translation of every DQ. You will surrender. So my own go-to is always when things don't go la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, because it is in life has been Allah has profoundly shown me just how you don't have jack of strength. Every strength belongs to Allah, and if He likes, He will pull it. And maybe that's because I see everybody look at me and say, "I'm just such a strong person, strong person." Maybe that's why that's the message that comes from my own trial. And when you look at your life, whatever you are known for is usually how your own trial will say your own. For me, it is la hawla wa la quwwata, because if you say energy, I have plenty. And so reflecting on DQ helps me to submit. Also, another thing that helps me surrender is 99 in Allah. Hey, 99 names of Allah along with the Quran. So, for instance, most of us can be very arrogant. We're very this. When I show arrogance, I remember that Allah hates the Jabbarine. I mean, that's what the reflection of the Quran does to you. It takes you back, and you think, hmm, Allah is a Jabbar, and He doesn't want any competition. So just let it go. And then when something happens, and you can't see Allah, but He will show you that He's there, and you say, Ya Zoyo, hey, you have manifested yourself again. I think that in order to be able to submit to Allah, you need to know Allah. So go back to the Quran, go back to understanding the Tawheed of Islam. You need to read books on Tawheed. You need to read books. on even just reading the meanings of the 99 names of Allah and going, don't just read their meaning, like what part of the Quran did they come from? Go and read the verse of the Quran where Allah called himself Jabal. And when you're reading tafsir of some of these things, you will see that they're linking stories of the serial. Go to YouTube, for instance. I think Sheikh, his name, there's a Sheikh in the US who has a very beautiful series on the night names of Allah, and he will tell you there's a hadith of when somebody used it, when a scholar used it, when a Sahaba used it, and the Prophet said, "Mashallah." Or on the etc. You need to go back. Knowledge, I think knowledge, you need to practice knowledge. It's not enough that we know it. We need to reflect the knowledge with what's going on in our life. So I know the night names of Allah and I know their meanings. But when something that I'm finding difficult opens, what the first thing that comes to my mind is Ya Fatah. Thank you so much. So I'm linking it to it. Or something happened and I'm linking a story from the serial to what is happening. I think that's how to be able to truly submit, because you can link. If something happens, what I want you to do moving forward is to ask yourself, where is Allah in it? Where is Allah in it? Where's Islam in it? When I was going to learn NLP, one of my friends who had done NLP and was calling herself NLP practitioner was saying, don't go, don't go, don't go. There's kufu in it. And I looked at that and I said, my mindset regarding knowledge or anything in life is that if there's goodness in something that is benefiting human being, there's definitely some degree of Islam in it. There's definitely something I will find in the Quran or the Sunnah of the Rasul Sallallahu in it. Because Islam, what did Allah say about us Muslims? We are the best of mankind because we're enjoying good. So if there's any good, there will be a teaching of Islam in it. So I'm going. So when I went to class, I opened my mind and I was looking for the teachings of Islam. And wallahi, from the first statement the guy said, I started to find it. This guy said that you need to change your mindset. What did the Quran say? You change your heart. A condition of the people will not change unless they change what is their heart. So it's not enough that you know the Quran. It's not enough that you know Allah. You need to start relating everything that is happening to you to Allah. And people will say that, oh, Stamjat, I like how somebody told me last week, I like how you attach every mundane part of your life back to Islam. Because Islam is a way of life. So if I can't find the mundane part of my life and attach it to Islam, what am I doing? Am I truly submitting? Am I truly being a Muslim? And that's how I practice it. Attaching every mundane things. My mom just called me now, while we were in class and said, Mo, what's status here? And I saw that somebody gave you clothes clip. Bag me, daddy to bambo. And I'm like, Abba, I need the clip. The first thing I wanted to say is no. But then this is my mother asking me for a 500 naira clip. Why am I giving her? Liladi. Because this is Dhul Hijjah, this is my mother. The Rasul says that we give mother 3 times before we even consider anybody. So before considering myself, I'm going to give her, because the 3 times I want to consider is because of her. I'm not giving my mother because she if she likes, she say Molonia for 7 months. It can be 10 months. If she like, let her do it for 2 years. But I'm doing it because the position of Islam favors her even above, me. So I'm going to favor Lillah. And if I can't connect anything to Allah, and most times I will just not do it because I cannot be doing anything else. So that's the way I submit. I submit by reflecting. I'm asking myself, if I do this, would I get the favor of Allah? What did Islam say about this? And that's the only way my mother is getting clip. That my clip. That's the only reason, because we're submitting to the will of Allah. I pray that Allah easy for all of us. I pray it easy for us. It is definitely a life journey, because sometimes you think that Allah now trusts you, and then He will bring another to be like, you did. She said, you me let me. She said, family. She said, family. May Allah not, may Allah not burden us beyond our scope. So Zakumullah khairan, my beautiful girls. Thank you so much for your beautiful submission. Somebody said on Facebook that all of us have shared very profound submission. So Jazakumullah khairan, awesome and Timothy, amazingly beautiful Kim. Absolutely amazingly beautiful Kim Nika. Sis Rafia and Sis Aisha, may Allah brighten your face and continue to increase you in His goodness for you. Ameen, ameen, ameen. And that's all. Thank you for joining us. Do
Thank you
remember
for
to
having us.
thank you. We can't wait to have you. Shame gone. That's all from me. I have a Zoom class. If you are on my Beast Chat group, please go and check the group now and join the link. I slept at 1 a.m. yesterday preparing the slides for this class. So because it's a free class and you know that I'm going to advertise my class there, does not mean that you shouldn't show up. Oh. As I'm leaving this thing like this, I'm going to that Zoom class. There are 31 people there. I'm expecting over 100 people. Please go and join the Zoom if you are on the Beast Chat. If you are not on the Beast Chat, check for Mutiat Olagoke, Sumba Mutiat Olagoke on Facebook. My posts are public. Click the link to join the WhatsApp group. We will send you the link to be part of it. We're talking about collaboration for small business owners. How do you leverage collaboration? I don't sell any class on collaboration. So what that means is that I am fully going to teach this class as if I'm selling it. It's the only time I will teach a class half-heartedly is if I'm selling it. And I don't do anything half-heartedly, so I don't teach classes I'm selling for free. So I am teaching this class for free, Lila Warasoli, because it is Dhul Hijjah, and so I'm pouring all of my heart into it, and I'm inviting you to join. Other things I'm inviting you to join includes come and read the stories. Go and read the stories for today. We have the goal of the day is to moist our tongue with VQ throughout the day. Please come and read content all over the group. Check the group for all the content we're creating. Our contents are fantastic. They are fantastic, if I have to say that for myself. Please join and invite other people to join. To let's make the best part of these beautiful days. May Allah accept our worship. May Allah bless us and reward us abundantly. May Allah ease the affairs of this country and make Nigeria much more better than we hope and dream. Amen. Jazakumullah khair for your time. Bye bye. Assalamu alaikum.